The Prophet ﷺ said, if you walk in and you're attracted to the opposite gender, then he said, come home. فَإِنَّ مَعَهَا مِثْلَ الَّذِي مَعَهَا. Because your spouse at home has nothing less to give you. The message is not go out, the message is come back home. The home has it, fix it, repair it. This is where it's going to happen. In English they say, if you don't find happiness at home, you will not find it anywhere. And I think today we're losing the point. We're not working enough to charge the battery to keep the home running. It's my philosophy, and 22 years of marriage counseling just reinforces my sentiments. As much as I get depressed at times with the amount of marriage counseling I need to do, but it also allows me to appreciate my own relationship because of the challenges that I see people are experiencing. I believe marriage is the only thing that can allow a person to come home, get invigorated, energized, and he can go back outside, be productive and resilient. So if a person is having challenges in his life and unsubstantiated, maybe he's not having the best of health, he doesn't have a flourishing economy, business is not at its best point, he's having a bit of turbulence with his kids, there's issues in the family, but he comes to a safe haven. He gives shelter. And I always say this, show your children your love, don't show them your lust. So as a parent, my child must see me loving my wife. My lust is for the bedroom. Today we're lusting in front of our children and we're not loving. Are you getting what I'm saying? Love your child. Let your child see. There's nothing you can do for your child more than love his mom. And there's nothing you can do, my sister, for your child than love his father. Let your children see love, not lust. That happens in the bedroom. The Prophet ﷺ displayed great acts of affection towards Aisha radiallahu anha. He would كَانَ يَتَتَبَّعُ مَوْضِعَ فِيَّ. Aisha radiallahu anha said, he would consciously take the vessel and place his blessed lips precisely at the point where I would put my lips. Wow. We all can think of it when you're dating and courting and you had a crush and a fantasy and infatuation. We're not talking of that. The Prophet ﷺ كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقبل إحدى نسائه وهو صائم ثم تضحك. Aisha radiallahu anha said he would be observing the fast, and then before leaving he would kiss one of his spouses, and then she would blush. She would modestly blush. And obviously the reference was to Aisha radiallahu anha. كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يتكئ في حجري فيقرأ القرآن. You know, you go in your prayer room and read Quran, or you go probably in the balcony and you read Quran, or you go somewhere else. And Aisha radiallahu anha said the Prophet ﷺ's blessed head would recline in my lap, and that's where he read his Quran. That's where he read his Quran. And you know when? The narration of Muslim, he would do so also when I would be going through my cycle in the month. Imam Nawawi, the great muhaddith, deduces from this the permissibility of reciting Quran in proximity to impurity. I don't want to go into academics. Imam Nawawi has made that istidlal. I'm saying, if you fix your marriage, and you come home, and you're able to go back, your battery will be charged up, you'll be able to perform in whatever sphere of life you are, as a professional, in whatever capacity, even if things are not good, but you'll be charged up. Flip the coin and reverse the scenario. Everything is good in life. You have children around you, and like the Quran says, I always mention, children are a ni'mah, not only when you have them, but when they're around you. وَبَنِينَ شُهُودًا. وَبَنِينَ شُهُودًا. Allah spoke of Walid bin Mughira, he had children, and Allah said they were around him. If you have kids and they're all scattered and you don't have contact, then they're really not a boon and a blessing. So you have children, you have wealth, you have health, but you dread coming home. Then I'm afraid the collective prosperity in all spheres of life will not be adequate to make you resilient to face the domestic challenges you have. But if your domestic life is in order, it will make you bounce back in all other aspects of life. So this is so key and so integral, and unfortunately we're just not working adequately. Now, I generally like to speak on marriage and marriage workshops when my wife is not around and my sons are not around. Because I can like perfectly give this amazing parent and husband image, you know. But obviously I cannot do it now because I'm going to be torn apart after the storm. But that's the reality. That's the reality of how. So the first thing is the spouse. Allah said she is the source of comfort, you're the source. Then Allah says, فَالِقُ الْإِصْبَاحِ وَجَعَلَ اللَّيْلَ سَكَنًا. Allah has made the night a means of comfort. And then the third thing Allah said, هُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُم مِّن بُيُوتِكُمْ سَكَنًا. He's made your home a place of peace. Home is where you hang your heart. Home is where you come and relax. Now, if my home, spouse, and night are not giving me comfort, then the fundamental object of these three things are forfeited and defeated. It's not a home if I'm not getting relaxed. It's not a spouse. So there's a narration of Bazar, the Prophet ﷺ said, get married and your spouses will generate revenue for you. Now one is they say, before you married, you yearn for her, and after you married, you earn for her. The wife becomes silent. The scholars of hadith say, هذا إذا كان الزوجان فهيمين وناصحين لكل واحد منهما. The Prophet ﷺ said, يأتينكم بالأموال. Your spouse, your partner, your wife will bring you wealth. She'll bring you wealth. What they say in English, some people are so poor, the only thing they have is money. And some people are so rich, the only thing they don't have is money. They're so rich, they have children. What they say in English, he's a rich man whose children run into his arms even when they enter empty. He's a rich man. Insan घर बदलता है, कपड़े बदलता है, गाड़ी बदलता है, रिश्ते बदलता है, फिर भी परेशान क्यों रहता है? क्योंकि खुद नहीं बदलता. गालिब यही भूल करता रहा उम्र भर, डब्बा चेहरे पे था और आईना साफ करता रहा. हाय हाय, क्या गजब कर दिया शायर ने, क्या गजब कर दिया जालिम ने. गालिब यही भूल करता रहा उम्र भर, डब्बे चेहरे पे था और आईना साफ करता रहा. The Urdu poet said that how strange, how foolish, how naive, the scar, the pigmentation is on your cheek and you clean in the mirror. Like, sort your life out. You change in your car, your phone, change yourself. Change yourself and that's where change will come. And that's where you will see the difference. Am I changing as a person to better my relationship? So, Abdullah bin Rawaha radiallahu anhu's head was in the lap of his wife. He had a flash of a verse. He started crying. He looked up, his wife was crying. He asked his wife, what makes you cry? She said, رَأَيْتُكَ تَبْكِي فَبَكَيْتُ. I don't know. Just to see you tear in my partner is enough to make me cry. Wow. That was affection. That was bond. That was love. Just to see my husband in pain or my partner in pain, either way, that's enough. So she asked him, what made you cry? He said, I cried because of a verse of the Quran. وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا كَانَ عَلَىٰ رَبِّكَ حَتْمًا مَقْضِيًّا. That everybody has to cross the bridge. And I don't know if I will make it across, and that's what made me tear. And the sheer fact that he teared, it made his wife tear. So I'm saying these are the three things. Our home, the night, and our partner. We've got to work and give back to marriage. Now in English they say marriage is work in progress with a lifetime contract. We're putting up a building, it's a 3-year contract, it's a 4-year contract, so they're going to have a detour and you're going to have to use alternate. This is a lifetime contract. You're never over with it. Marriage has thorns, but celibacy has no roses. Marriage has thorns, but celibacy has no roses. That's the truth. It has its thorns, The formula to a happy marriage is not to wed the perfect partner, but to love the imperfect partner perfectly well. All this is easy in theory. But when you go, I'm married 23 years, right? You know, I always say it's easy to get married, difficult to remain married. Come on, you guys got to agree with me, man. You guys are kidding me, man. It's easy to become a Muslim, difficult to remain a Muslim. We can make millions Muslims now. To remain a Muslim, كالقابل على الجمر. It's only like on burning flame. It's easy to become a hafiz, or easier, but difficult to preserve the Quran. To get married is very easy. To remain married is the challenge. To become a Muslim is easy. To remain a Muslim is challenging. So the Prophet ﷺ said, get married. Your wife, your spouse, your partner will bring you revenue. The scholars say, هذا إذا كان الزوجان فهيمين وناصحين لكل واحد منهما فيسعى الزوج في زيادة الكسب وتشتغل الزوجة في انتظام البيت مما لا يقدر عليه الزوج فيلزم الإطمئنان والراحة وهو مقصود المال فهذا معنى الإتيان بالمال. These are scholars of hadith. What is meant by a woman bringing wealth? Wallahi, the honor, the respect and the dignity Allah has given to a woman, and then you don't want to accuse Islam of misogyny? How absurd, how ludicrous, how bizarre. Yes, I have not given the right image of Islam. I have faulted, not the Prophet ﷺ. So when the Prophet Adam was told to leave Jannah, then Allah had warned him, let not the devil expel you from Jannah, because if the devil expels you from Jannah, O Adam, you're going to find yourself in problems. Not your wife, you. And this is deduced from the Quran. I will share to you from the Quran. It's the beauty of the Quran. إن هذا عدو لك ولزوجك فلا يخرجنكما من الجنة فتشقى, not فتشقيا. فتشقى, not فتشقيا. This is your enemy. If he expels you, you. That is wahid mudhakkar hadir. That's addressing one person. You will be in difficulty. Your wife, she will enjoy the perks of paradise on earth. Then with which tongue do you accuse Islam of misogyny? Hello. إن لك ألا تجوع فيها ولا تعرى وأنك لا تظمأ فيها ولا تضحى. In Jannah, food, drink, clothing, shelter provided. A woman in this world, in a Muslim home, will be provided. And I did you no favor, my wife. That's my duty to you. That's my duty. That's the teachings. So the scholars of hadith say, how will a woman generate the revenue is when there's mutual understanding. How? That a husband exerts himself to generate revenue, right? To the best of his ability within halal. Because the Prophet ﷺ had warned us in the narration of Tabarani, he said a time will come, a man will lose his faith because of his spouse and his children. He'll lose his faith. O Prophet of Allah, how will that happen? يُعَيِّرُونَهُ بِالْفَقْرِ وَيُكَلِّفُونَهُ مَا لَا يُطِيقُ فَيَدْخُلُ مَدَاخِلَ الَّتِي يَذْهَبُ فِيهَا دِينُهُ كَمَا قَالَ رواه ابن مسعود مرفوعا. That his spouse and children will put financial demands on him beyond his economic muscle. It's just beyond his budget. It's just above his threshold. Listen, you've got to deliver, do or die, make or break. It's going to happen. I need to go and I want to go and I'm going to do this. My sister is going, so I'm going to go. My brother is going, so I'm going to go. My neighbor is going, so I want this. This man will either buckle under the pressure, succumb to the pressure, resort to illegitimate sources to generate the revenue, and in that his faith will leave him in totality. May Allah protect us. We live in challenging times. So my analogy over all my years of marriage counseling, and I've given tens of talks on this, and I've done hundreds of marriage counseling cases, I give this analogy, and I want to move quickly, and I want to try and share one, two other stories quickly, because probably I fly a lot, so many of my analogies are with aviation. So I give this example. I believe that marriage is like turbulence, al-ittirab al-jawiyya. Now you know turbulence can happen to an old aircraft and the most modern aircraft. And the best part of turbulence is it comes unannounced. Now the third thing of turbulence is the rules change. When you're in turbulence, clear the lavatories, clear the aisles, fold the tables, buckle up, and just behave. Right? Some flights you won't have any turbulence, and other flights you have extended turbulence. But as long as you don't have to ground the flight, there's nothing to worry about. Just hang on in the turbulence. Just hang on. It will settle, and the flight will reach its cruising altitude, and turbulence will come in at any time. That's the nature of it. So a brother is like, yeah, I'm married 15 years. I never had an argument with my wife. So I'm like, you will stay together or separate? That's no example for me. For me, I'm not impressed with that. You know why? Because my Prophet ﷺ had differences. I wish to develop the maturity with which he diffused it. That's my vision. My vision is not to say we are social creatures by nature. No human is an island. And when I'm with my wife and I'm talking, we are bound to differ. This is how Allah is clear. To develop the maturity to diffuse it. So his spouses radiallahu anhunna had asked him certain material things. We want this, we want this, we want this. And he felt very hurt and he went away for a month. And he said, I'm not coming home for a month. And then Allah revealed the verse, Ayatul Takhir, summon your spouses, gather your consorts, engage them and ask them if they want the material things, we'll give it to them. But then they're going to part ways with you. يا أيها النبي قل لأزواجك إن كنتن تردن الحياة الدنيا وزينتها فتعالين أمتعكن وأسرحكن سراحا جميلا وإن كنتن تردن الله ورسوله والدار الآخرة فإن الله أعد للمحسنات منكن أجرا عظيما. Wow, wow, wow. Ayatul Takhir, he gathers them. Aisha, this is the verse revealed. She said, ما أنا بالذي أختار عليك أحد يا رسول الله. Oh, Prophet of Allah, I want you. Each one of them answered in the same way. He came back after 29 days. He said he's going for a month. And it was as a disciplinary measure. When he came back after 29 days, our mother Aisha radiallahu anha said, أقسمت ألا تدخل علينا شهرا ونحن في 29 ليلة. You said you're going for a month, it's only 29 days, the month not yet over, you're back? Wow. Wow. And we love Aisha radiallahu anha. You know, Allah knows, and I quote these couplets because I love it, but there's so many Arabs here, so I will just quote this quickly. The poet speaks about the virtue of Aisha radiallahu anha. يا مبغضي لا تأتي قبر محمد فالبيت بيتي والمكان مكاني إني خصصت على نساء محمد بصفات بر تحتهن معاني وسبقتهن إلى الفضائل كلها فالسبق سبقي والعنان عناني مرض النبي ومات بين ترائبي فاليوم يومي والزمان زماني زوجي رسول الله لم أر غيره الله زوجني به وحباني وأتاه جبريل الأمين بسورتي فأحبني المختار حين رآني أنا بكره العذراء عندي سره وضجيعه في منزلي قمراني وتكلم الله العظيم بحجتي وبراءتي في محكم القرآن والله وبخ من أراد تنقصي إفكا وسبح نفسه في شاني. Wow, these are amazing couplets. I cried, and just speaks about how great Aisha radiallahu anha was. In a nutshell, she said this. What did the Nabi of Allah say? How did he diffuse it? Aisha, I didn't say 30 days. I said 1 month, and this month has 29 days. My words. My words. My words, my words. Why? That was our Nabi's. I'm just going to share with you one story and wrap it up. There's too many thoughts in my mind, but time is short. And I'm saying it's so nice to see families get together. And that's the beauty of our faith. We're spending time with our children, with our spouse. دينار أنفقته في سبيل الله دينار أنفقته على رقبة دينار تصدقته على مسكين أعظم درجة الذي أنفقته على أهلك. The Prophet ﷺ said, you spend on a poor person, on a pauper, on a beggar, and you spend on your family, the one that earns you the greatest closeness to Allah is the one you spend on your family. So that's the beauty of our faith, that bonding with our family, being close to them, embracing our partner, loving our children is so integral to our deen. This is the rich teachings of our faith. So here's a quick story, and I share this often because for me, this sums up a Muslim home. This sums up a Muslim home. So the Prophet Aisha radiallahu anha said, whenever the Prophet came home, there were two things. Bada'a bis-siwak. Whenever he entered, there was miswak, and there was a smile. The Prophet was very conscious of oral hygiene. Now today, unfortunately, we overlook oral hygiene. But imagine you want to be intimate with your spouse, and you have certain social ill habits which give off unpleasant odor. That itself is going to set a person back. And I'm not judging anyone. Like someone said, don't judge others just because they sin different to you. Don't judge others just because they sin. You sin in a way, they sin in a way. So we're not judging. But the Prophet of Allah was very, very conscious of every type of hygiene and oral in particular. So I often say, when he got up from his blessed bed in the morning, his blessed mouth was more fragrant than my mouth and yours after brushing our teeth. And wallah, that's no exaggeration. Wallah, that's no exaggeration. So after I brush my teeth with the toothbrush or whatever, the Prophet of Allah, if his perspiration had fragrance, can you imagine his blessed teeth? Can you imagine that? All right? The wife of Farqad Aslami, she says, كنا أربع نسوة عند فرقد أسلمي رضي الله عنه وما منا امرأة إلا وهي تجتهد في الطيب لتكون أطيب من صاحبتها. That we were four women married to our husband, and we all used to apply fragrance so that we could smell the best. Our husband applied nothing, but he was the most fragrant. So one day I sat him down and I'm like, how does this happen? I'm applying this, applying that, and subhanAllah, you're the most fragrant. He said, أخذني الشرى في عهد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I had an itching syndrome. I had like an itching. You know, I don't know if the same thing, but I know I had this thing, they call it tinea vesicola medically. I'm not sure if the medical doctors here share the same terminology, but anyway. So I had this itching. You know, there's this beautiful poem of Imam Shafi. He said, ما حك جلدك مثل ظفرك فتولى أنت جميع أمرك. Nobody can scratch your back like yourself. So you tell someone, scratch little top, no, little low, little high. Oh, I'll leave it up to myself. What's the message? Do things yourself. Do things yourself. If a simple thing like that, a person cannot scratch your back. I'll do it myself. If a simple thing like that, others learn to do things yourself. So I had this itching syndrome. I came to the Prophet ﷺ. He said, remove your upper garment. I removed it. And then he put his blessed hand on. It's been that day to this day, the fragrance hasn't left me. Right? So anyway, here's the narration, and that sums it up. And may Allah bless you. I've really enjoyed myself. I had a great time. The Bahamas were awesome. The Husna team was great. So Shaykh Hassan contacted me 1 year ago, and he's like, please, I'm taking this group. I need you to come on board. And I'm like, okay, I'll see my schedule. Let's see. But he kept on phoning me. You got to do. You need to come. It's good, good, good. And alhamdulillah, I'm happy I came. No regrets. So there was this Sulaiman radiallahu anha. She was a great female companion. She was initially married to Anas ibn Malik in the time of Jahiliyyah, who was the father of Anas radiallahu anhu. And he didn't revert to Islam. Then she married Abu Talha. And she said, I don't want any dowry from you except Islam, and that's my dowry. It's in the narrations. So Sulaym radiallahu anha and Abu Talha shared a child. And this was a child that was very sick. Just to let you know, what I'm saying is, we need to bond. We need to fix our relationship. We need to make it work. Right? They say every husband is a farmer by default. Every husband is a farmer by default. His survival depends on agriculture. Every husband is a farmer by default. His survival depends on agriculture, and agriculture increases GDP, gross domestic peace. So Allah has blessed women with multitasking. This is their domain. The phone is ringing, the one child needs to be, she's lactating, the other one's lunch needs to be prepared, you walking into the house, there's visitors coming, to multitask my head off and my hair off for our sisters. This is something that Allah has blessed them with. It's just amazing how a woman can juggle between so many things, and more than often the biggest baby in the house for that woman is her husband. The biggest baby in the house who needs the most attention is the hubby. And I always say to my wife, keep your husband as his biggest baby. Make him the king and the throne is yours. Make him the king and the throne is yours, my sister. I promise you. As it is, it's yours. As it is, the throne is yours, but it will just be more official. Listen to the narration. Listen to the narration. Wow. You can tell me about workshops and marriage books and theories and articles and back and forth and everything. Show me one union like this in the world. So Abu Talha and Sulaim have a sick child. That's the decree of Allah. What someone said, what is marriage? It's the union of two where one helps others solve the problems created by the union. Hello? What is marriage? It's a union between two where one helps the other solve the problems created by the marriage. Anyway, by the way, we all read this for some humor and that. So the child was sick, critical, terminal. Abu Talha had to go. He went out to work. In the interim, the child passed away. The hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. This is a home. There's not a house, this is a home. The wife said, I beg for your undivided attention. لا تحدثوا أبا طلحة حتى أكون أنا. Listen, my son has passed away. This is my child and it's my husband's child. Nobody divulge this news to the father and my husband. I will find the right time. I will tell my husband when I need to tell him. Wow. Wow. A society that trivialized the homemaker now no longer finds people to make the home. A man can only build a house. It takes a woman to make a home. A house is built with bricks and stone. A home is built with love and motherhood. There's nowhere else you can replace that. You can express milk in a bottle. You cannot transmit motherhood through a bottle. Those are irrefutable realities. This is a mother. This is shaping. المرأة العاقلة تبني بيتها. المرأة العاقلة تبني بيتها. She then attends to the rituals of ghusl of her own child. Can you imagine that? This is a woman, her child has passed away. What's her emotions? She gives ghusl, wraps the child up, puts the child one side. The husband comes home. The hadith of Bukhari, ما فعل ابني. How's my son? My word, Allahu Akbar. May Allah's countless blessings be on the soul of Sulaim. Say Ameen. Ameen. A woman like no other. You know what she said to her husband? Huwa askanu mimma kan. Huwa askanu mimma kan. How is he? He's more peaceful than what he was. You want to tell me psychology? You want to teach me? That's why I say, today we have terminologies, but we don't walk the talk. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was not a term that was coined, or there wasn't a workshop, or there wasn't a name, or there wasn't a title. But the Prophet ﷺ lived the psychology. He lived it. إذا دخلتم على المريض فنفسوا له في أجله فإن ذلك لا يرد شيئا ويطيب به نفسا. When you visit a sick person, besides the doctor who needs to give a candid medical report, give him hope that he'll recover. Because your encouragement won't extend his life, but will add value to the remaining days of his life. Wow, you want to teach me psychology? So there was a youngster studying psychology and he came to interview me from a religious perspective. And he said, as a religious leader, how would you counsel and what do you believe in psychology? I'm like, you know what, where your psychology ends, that's the ABC of Islamic psychology. That's the ABC. What did this woman say? She didn't lie. She used an ambiguous term. he is more peaceful. So obviously he interpreted this as positively. قَرَّبَتْ لَهُ عَشَاء. The hadith of Bukhari. The Prophet ﷺ said, this woman, after having lost her child, she attended to it, prepared a meal and presented the meal to her husband. Can you imagine the emotions in this woman's heart, knowing my child? A mother is like, my word. I say this in my talks. I can never translate and convey the emotion of the verse of the Quran to the non-Arab. I cannot. I said it for the last 20 years in my talks. I can translate, I cannot transmit the essence. And this is my analogy. So as a father, mother goes to work or she's gone out. She's like, when my son comes home, tell him I love him. My darling, I'm missing you. Sorry, mama had to go. Here's your food. There's your drinks. There's your bag. Give him a hug and tell him I'll be back in the evening. When the boy comes home, I'm like, hey, your mother left some food here. There's a microwave. You can fold it if you don't find it. I'm not going to come my way. I'm a father, man. A mother won't let him fall. A father will let him fall to learn how he can stand up. That's how Allah has made us different. If I cannot transmit a mother's sentiments, how can I transmit Allah's sentiments? That's what I always say in my lectures. So, a mother, that's a mother. There's just no way to explain it. When Musa alayhi salatu wasalam came back and he held the beard of Harun and he said, Ya Harun ma mana'aka idh ra'aytahum dhallu an la tattabi'ani afa'asayta amri. But why did you do this when they deviated? What did he say? Yabna umma la ta'khudh bi lihyati wa la bi ra'si. Oh my mother's son. He didn't say my brother or my father's son. He said, oh my mother's son. And the scholars of tafsir analyzed this. They said he was calling out to sympathy through the agency of motherhood. When he said, Yabna my mother's son. Okay, so anyway, she has her child there. She presents food to her husband. This is when society had mothers. This is when we were shaping leaders. This is when our youth were protected, buffered and insulated and fortified. Because there was someone who was rescuing this entire operation. How dare you trivialize the role of a woman? How dare you consider it insignificant? They shaping our future. She presents food. He eats the food. He's a man. There's a need. تَزَيَّنَتْ لَهُ. Read the narration. She then adorns herself. My husband went out, he needed to eat, he ate, there is a need, he needs to come close to me. She adorned herself, the hadith of Bukhari, the best she ever adorned. And then they went in the room and they would share the bed. I can cry non-stop. My mind freezes. My brain shuts off. My brain shuts off to begin to imagine the strength and the resilience of this woman, cognizant that her child's body and corpse is lying there, but she's dutiful and playing a role, giving her husband food and then understanding the need. And then the narration goes on. I'm giving it in Bukhari and Muslim. فَلَمَّا رَأَتْ أَنْ شَبِعَ. Wow. And then you want to see that celebrity on that billboard, husband, wife, baby in a stroller in a mall. The only time they smiled was at the time they took that picture. There's no smile in their life. The only time was for that. Perfect. No scar, no pigmentation, no screens, everything. There's nothing. That's not real. The words, when she's seen her husband's belly was satiated, his physical need was satisfied. She understood my husband is relaxed, he's been seen too, he's satisfied. She said, hubby, I need to talk to you. My darling, I need to talk to you. It's late night. They shared the bed, they consummate the relationship. He's like, my love, my angel, talk to me. I'm paraphrasing, but read the hadith. Oh man. أَرَأَيْتَ لَوْ أَنَّ قَوْمًا أَعَارُوا عَارِيَتَهُمْ. Oh my Allah, may you have mercy on the soul of Sulaim. My hubby, I want to ask you, if someone borrows you something for a period of time, and the duration lapses, and the period expires, do you reserve the rights to still retain the item? You're talking of psychology. So he says, no, my love, but where are you going? Where are you going with this? She said, فَاحْتَسِبْ إِبْنَكَ. Then my husband, we need to hope for reward. Allah borrowed us our son. The time has expired. Allah's taken him back. So he goes on to say, my wife, you leave me to drown, حَتَّى تَلَتَّخْتُ, to drown in my lust, in my desire, only to know that my child's body is lying there. So she comforted him, and the essence was, I couldn't change it, but I needed to find the right time to reach to you. Wow, wow. Think. And then we go with begging bowls to find out how to live our marriages, like we don't have teachings, and our books are empty and devoid, and we don't have guidance, and we don't know how. That's why I'm saying it's a great initiative. But this is the beginning steps. We need to build from here. We need to hold together. We need to walk together. We need to love together. Let our children see that bond and love. That is the foundation with which we develop. She said, go to the Prophet ﷺ. So immediately he goes to the Prophet ﷺ, and he says, oh Prophet of Allah, this is what has happened. Nabi ﷺ comforts him. أَعَرَّسْتُمُ اللَّيْلَ? Did you have relationship tonight as well? He said, yes. He says, okay, I'm giving you the glad tidings. Allah has blessed the union in your relationship. The narrator of the hadith says, I seen the child who passed away, and I also lived to see the child who was conceived that night. He grew up, became a father of 9 children, all of whom were huffaz of the Quran. فَرَأَيْتُ تِسْعَةَ أَوْلَادٍ لِهَذَا الْمَوْدُودِ كُلُّهُمْ قَدْ قَرَأُوا الْقُرْآنِ. In a nutshell, I'm saying, my brother, the biggest wreck of the world is a broken home. The biggest wreck of the world is a broken home. The secret to a happy marriage is not to wed the perfect partner, but to love the imperfect partner perfectly well. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that just as He has made this trip of ours possible, allowed us time to bond with our spouse and our children, that we develop positively from here. Collectively, we thank Allah and appreciate the bounties of Allah upon us in this opportunity that Allah has given us. We live in Saf. I visited an orphanage 2 years ago at the border of Turkey and Serbia, Rayhanli. I was taken into an orphanage called Halima Sa'diya. As I walked in, they brought a child, the youngest orphan there. They said, Shaykh, this child is 8 months old. The mother was expecting this child, the mummy is upstairs. The family was sitting together. A drone struck, the father died. The mum lost her leg and she went into premature labor, and this child was born premature, and that's the child you're holding. So in the climate around us, Allah has allowed us to hold our spouse and our child and walk on the beach. I urge every one of us, and I remind myself, to thank Allah profusely, for the health, the wealth that He has given us. ما أنعم الله على عبد بنعمة أوفى من العافية وكل من عوفي في جسده فهو في عيشة راضية والمال حلو حسن جيد على الفتى لكنه عارية ما أحسن الدنيا لكنها مع حسنها غدارة فانية. The biggest ni'mah Allah has given us after Iman is afiyah. Let us be grateful to Allah. Let us bond. We hope that in